Good evening, everybody. Chris and Tiffany here with High Seas Cruising. Welcome to our live video. And tonight, we're here to talk about, to recap, get some thoughts, feelings, impressions on the last sailing of the Carnival Ecstasy. So just got back this last weekend, and man, it was a spectacular cruise. Unfortunately, Tiffany wasn't able to go on that cruise. And after going on that cruise and getting back from that cruise, I really wish she had gone because it turned out to be a really great cruise.
From your stories, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it was a really great cruise. I loved it. Turned out I love fantasy class ships, and I had no idea whatsoever that I was going to enjoy fantasy class ships. All right, Marco, hello, and I love the videos. Thank you. We really appreciate that. I said, anybody who watches our videos, we appreciate it. Wouldn't be here without you guys.
No.
Wouldn't be here without you guys. So, Carnival Ecstasy. I actually had a couple of firsts on this cruise. Some first-time events for me. I'd never sailed out of Mobile, Alabama, so it was my very first time doing that. It was my first time on a Carnival Fantasy class ship, and it was the first time I'd ever been on a solo cruise. So I figured I'd go ahead and start there at the beginning with Mobile, Alabama. I liked the Mobile, Alabama cruise port. I really did. It was neat. It was clean. It was organized. You drive right in. They take your luggage there on the first floor. Porters immediately take off your luggage, go park your car, and they were really organized. They put you right in the line you need to be in. It's boom, 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 and boom, right on the ship. It was very simple. I said, it's not a very big cruise terminal, and there was a line, but that line moved. It moved at a steady pace. They were quick. They were efficient. They had that very well organized. So as far as an embarkation goes, super smooth. And I enjoyed the Mobile cruise port. I would cruise out of that cruise port again just because of their efficiency.
Yeah.
You know, how well organized they had that. Both embarkation and disembarkation, once you were back in that cruise terminal, they moved you right along. They knew what they were doing. They really did. So, yeah. So my very first trip sailing out of Mobile, I would say was a success and enough that I would do it again. Now, fantasy class cruise ships. And I got a bit of a story on that. One of those, you can't judge a book by its cover stories, and something that we did and shouldn't have done in retrospect. So when we first started cruising, I remember we were docked. It was in Nassau, wasn't it?
I believe so.
We were docked in Nassau, and we were on, and I forget exactly what cruise ship we were on, but of course it was a newer cruise ship, a bigger cruise ship, a prettier cruise ship than, you know, a fantasy class ship kind of looks like from the outside. And I remember getting off our ship and seeing, and I want to say it was the Elation at the time that was docked next to us. And we both looked at that ship and said, wow, that ship looks old, doesn't look very modern. I don't know how much fun that would be.
No balconies.
Yeah, very few balconies.
Yeah.
Very few balconies. You know, not sure we want to get on that kind of ship. It just doesn't seem right. And now I go back and, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover, because now that I've sailed on a fantasy class ship, I realize our judgment of those ships was wrong.
Yes. Pamela says hello.
Oh, hello, Pamela. But yeah, our judgment of the fantasy class ships, or at least my judgment, was completely wrong. They may not look as modern when you're looking at it from the outside as some of the newest cruise ships out there, but boy, that ship was beautiful on the inside. I liked the layout. I think it was, you know, it's a 31-year-old ship. So it was built for passengers, I guess, enjoyment and comfort more so than some of the newer ships, which are built for how many people can we stuff inside.
Yep.
So it seemed like it was bigger. I mean, even though I had the cheapest cabin I could possibly get on the ship, it was actually, there was a lot of room in it. There was plenty of room, way more room that you would, you know, normally feel like is inside, especially on an inside cabin on a cruise ship. but the layout was beautiful. The decorations were beautiful. I mean, you could tell she was an older cruise ship, but it worked for her.
Yeah.
I mean, it really worked for the Carnival Ecstasy. And I thought she was a beautiful ship. And I can honestly say, of all the Carnival ships that I've been on, the Ecstasy is now my favorite cruise ship, and it may be my favorite cruise ship overall. I'm not gonna lie. She was pretty. She looked good. And for being 31 years old, she looked good. She was not run down. She was not worn out. I mean, she looked beautiful. I can't really describe another word. She was well cared for, well loved.
Well, didn't you say that even on disembarkation day, the crew was still washing her windows and cleaning her all up and getting her all nice and ready?
You're right. I mean, disembarkation day, when the ship's heading from Mobile, left Mobile, was going to Miami for a couple of days, then unfortunately heading to the scrapyard. And yeah, they were still washing the windows and the glass and cleaning and vacuuming on disembarkation day. The crew took pride in how beautiful that ship was. I mean, huge amounts of pride.
I don't know how to say that name. Chica?
So glad to hear that you sailed on the Ecstasy the last voyage. But yeah, it was awesome. I love that ship. I mean, she doesn't have some of the modern bells and whistles. Don't get me wrong. She doesn't even have, the movie screen there at the pool for the drive-in movies. They showed the movies in the main theater. But she had all of the Carnival basics. She had a Guy's Burgers. She had the Blue Iguana, the buffet, the main dining room. She had water slides, pools, hot tubs. And if you ask me, she had the widest production stage theater, the stage itself, that I think I've ever seen on a cruise ship so far. I mean, it was wide. So she had a lot to offer. She really, really did. She had one elevator, though, and it always seemed I got on that elevator that when it got up near the top deck, did a little moaning and groaning when it got up there. You could tell that elevator had been pulling people for 31 years. Didn't act funny, just made a little bit of noise. And there were a lot of people that were asking, the ship is so beautiful. It's in such good shape. Why are they getting rid of this ship? Why take such a beautiful ship that people love to sail on and get rid of it? And the answer was, honestly, it's not what you see as a passenger. It's the parts you don't see as a passenger. The engines that have been running that ship are 31 years old. The internal systems are 31 years old, and the cost to basically open up that ship to get those engines out, put new engines in, put new systems in, and exceeded the cost and the value of the ship.
Connie says that makes sense.
Yeah, and that was the biggest reason, why they were getting rid of the Ecstasy. It was all about, the cost to modernize her versus it was to build a new ship that essentially they could put more people on, more bells, more whistles, which more bells and more whistles, Carnival says that's what attracts new cruisers. That's your blue cards and your red cards for, Carnival fans. That's what gets them on the ship and keeps them on the ship. While experienced cruisers like us, we're real happy on fantasy class ships and spirit class ships because we're there for the joy of cruising. A lot of new cruisers are looking for the latest and greatest, and that's how the cruise lines, and it's all of them, are attracting new cruisers.
Yeah.
So that's why you see the bells and the whistles versus, the way they used to be.
The Z Show Cruise Fun. Good evening, High Sea Adventure.
Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us here while we're talking about the Carnival Ecstasy, the end of an era. And the crew did a spectacular job the whole week. I mean, the cruise was really about saying goodbye to the ship, but not in a sad way. Though there was some sadness, believe it or not, wasn't for me, but I saw some passengers crying on there. We had people on the ship that got actually married on the ship on our maiden voyage.
Wow.
There was I guess now would be the child, but at the time, this individual passenger had been conceived on the Carnival Ecstasy on the maiden voyage and sailed on the very last voyage. So there were some happiness, there were some tears, there was some sadness. there was some joy because people have been sailing, like I said, on this particular ship for 31 years. And for her to not be there anymore, it was a moment. But the crew, I mean, we took that ship out in style.
Connie said, did they say what is going to happen to all the reusable items? I heard that some people were taking things off the ship that they weren't entitled to.
All right, let me go ahead and address that one. So I have seen some stories on YouTube for people that were not on the ship talking about this rampant theft around the ship. So there were some people, and it's a few number, they have the deck plans that were there by the elevator entrances. A couple of those got pulled off the wall, and apparently a couple room numbers got pulled off the wall. And honestly, that's all I saw. I did not see people trying to run off with parts of the ship, destroying parts of the ship, or even messing with the ship. And believe me, Captain was very quick to get on that radio, on the intercom, and say, you better stop. And there was security everywhere. Security was watching too.
Hi from Lenny and Geneva.
Had the best service. Yeah, I love the Ecstasy sailing. And one of the really cool things they did, this was the very last night. So instead of doing the Carnival Fun Times, and I know that's going to be hard to see. It's reflecting a little bit. Let me see if I can get the reflection out. There we go. This was the Fun Times, but this is the way it looked way back when she started sailing. So they did kind of a retro version of the Fun Times for the very last night, handed these out, and I made sure I kept my copy pristine, came home and framed it, because to me, I just like the way that looks. So this is a copy of the very last Fun Times, even though they called it the Carnival Capers, but a copy of the very last Fun Times for the Carnival Ecstasy on the very last night. And I thought that was super cool. So I had to get that and frame that. And of course, John Heald, Carnival brand ambassador, he was on board the ship, but didn't see him a whole lot, at least not just wandering the decks like a passenger. He was there for the Welcome Aboard show. He made an appearance in the dining room. He was there for the auction, because they did auction some items off of the cruise ship. They auctioned like a life ring, some of the plaques. There was a couple of other things that they auctioned, some of the artwork and memorabilia on the ship that was auctioned off. But to finish answering Connie's question, what do they do with the reusable items? So we asked that question. According to Carnival, when they buy the ship, the company in Turkey that's going to scrap it, when they purchase the ship, they purchase every single item on the ship with the exception of the Carnival branded items. So things that are specific to Carnival or that Carnival has decided can be reused on another ship. For example, the Rolls Royce that was there by the Rolls Royce Cafe, that had been taken off months ago. That's going to the Celebration. They said the ship's bell is going to Carnival headquarters in Florida. But stuff like tables, chairs, mattresses, pillows, all that kind of stuff, that's actually all sold with the ship. They remove that and they resell that as part of the ship's purchase. So they'll resell those chairs to a restaurant or some other group like that, is where all of the non-Carnival items that are like loosened, all the pool chairs, all that kind of stuff that isn't branded Carnival. So all stays with the ship. But I did not see this huge amount of theft that they were talking about. Like I said, there was a couple of incidences, a couple of people, enough that the captain came on and said something, enough that security was moving around more visibly than I've ever seen them before. But I didn't see this rampant, destruction and theft of the ship.
Yeah, Connie said that's very cool. Very efficient.
Very efficient. Yeah, the people on board that cruise had way more respect for that ship, is in the most part. I said a couple individuals, but for the most part, people had a lot of respect and reverence for that ship, because a lot of people that were on the Ecstasy were experienced cruisers. I mean, there were some first timers on there, but there's like a little over 2,000 passengers on board. over 75% of them were experienced cruisers. So, and a lot of them had sailed with Carnival, specifically on the Ecstasy, at least one time before. So, or something like that. There was actually a couple on there that had been entertainers on the ship when John Heald was the cruise director. They were sailing for the final sailing too. They no longer worked for Carnival, but he remembered who they were.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he remembered who they were, and that'll actually be in one of the videos I have. That part's in there because he was on stage when that happened. So it was a really good cruise.
Sounds like it.
It was.
Sounds like I missed a lot of fun.
You did it, and I told Tiffany this. She went with us on the Grandeur of the Seas. We just a couple weeks before, and that was a nice cruise. It was a good cruise. It was an enjoyable cruise. But if I could have flip-flopped the two and had her miss the Grandeur and go on the Ecstasy, I would, in retrospect, that's what I would do. I think you would have enjoyed the Ecstasy so much more just for the atmosphere that was on board that ship.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking a beautiful ship, a very active, attentive crew. Alex, the cruise director, was everywhere, entertaining, funny, keeping it lively for the passengers. I saw the captain more times than I've ever seen a captain before, attending events and talking. It was good. The passengers were into it. The crew was into it. The ship was beautiful. It was a party. It was pretty much a 5-day party. And that last night we did the farewell party in the atrium, and they tried to blow that place apart with just, the singing and the dancing and the music and the glow sticks. And yeah, it was a party. People partied. Nothing negative, nothing bad, not doing anything wrong. Everybody was having a blast. Super amount of fun. You guys have seen it before. They usually hand them out on 80s night on the deck parties. You got those glow rods, the ones that are about this long, kind of foamy, and everybody waves around. Well, the Ecstasy had like a couple hundred of these things left on board, and they wanted them gone. So they were just throwing them by the handfuls into the atrium. People had 2 of them, going in each hand, and they were going all the way up 3, 4, 5 decks hanging over the side, waving these things. It was a good party.
Sounds like I missed one heck of a party.
You did. You missed one heck of a cruise party. They did a Halloween party, had a Halloween contest on board. Very low-key Halloween. It was more about being the last cruise than it was about being Halloween, but they did have one. They didn't play very Halloween-y music to me, though. They didn't play like any Monster Mash, but I would think would be more Halloween-y.
So they've sailed many times on the Ecstasy, and they have very fond memories.
I wish I had known how much I was going to like it, and I'd sailed more than once. But I have nothing but fond memories of the Ecstasy now. I wish I'd known, because I'd have gone earlier. I just wish I'd have known. I learned a lot about how I felt about that cruise ship going on that ship. I really, really did. And I think we judged that book so wrong years and years ago that some of these ships, these newer ones, I would have rather skipped now and gone and done the fantasy class ship in retrospective.
Yeah.
If I'd have known, I would have known. Another pretty cool thing they did on the cruise was they printed up some maps of the last sailing. It's kind of hard to see, but they have the track of where the ship went on here. They printed them up. The captain signed it, and then if you stood in line, you can get John Heald to sign it. So I do have a map there of the final cruise of the Carnival Ecstasy with John Heald's signature on that. So a couple of little collectible items that I picked up from this last cruise. And I don't really know what else to say about it other than, dang, I had a good time. Now, with that said in mind, though, it was also my very first solo cruise. Solo cruising is okay. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel isolated. I didn't feel like I was alone on the ship. But I can honestly say, being the first cruise I've ever taken without Tiffany, I wish she'd have been there. Because it was so good and it was so much fun, I wish you were there to share it with.
Yeah.
I think if I'd have come back and said, that cruise sucked, it stank, I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like the ship, I may not feel the same. But because it was so worth going, I missed being able to be right there going, hey, look at that, oh, look over here. We weren't sharing that together.
Yeah.
So I missed my cruise buddy. I did. But I never had any problems being a solo cruiser. And I'm going to say one more thing about the Ecstasy real quick, because two things about the Ecstasy that really caught my attention from day one. The air conditioning aboard that ship should be in a freezer. I have never felt an air conditioner work so well on a cruise ship ever. I had to turn it off during the daytime for it to get warm enough to function.
Well, you said you didn't have a refrigerator, but it didn't matter because it kept your drinks cold.
Yeah. First day I said, man, I got another one without a refrigerator. Yep, turn it off. That didn't matter. Turn that AC on and your drinks were perfectly cold right there on the counter. Best air conditioner ever was on that ship, and the best water pressure in the shower. I mean, the best. To the point I got home, got in my shower here at the house, and wanted to go back and shower on the ship again. The water pressure was so good. I mean, it was borderline massage water pressure strength. Whatever the Ecstasy did, the other cruise ships need to learn from.
And I'm sorry if I pronounce her name wrong. I think that's Chica. How cool. Now I'm really jealous.
Yeah, it was good. But that water pressure, wow, that was unbelievable. It was unbelievably good. And that air conditioner, woo, I mean, you only turned that sucker on. You just opened it. It was weird. The controls were on the ceiling. And so being my first time on a fantasy class ship, all the rest of it's on the wall. You got the thermostat. Well, this one's got just a dial on the ceiling. And you just turn it and you hear it start to blow out through the roof vent. Almost kind of reminds me like of an RV type setup. But you open up that vent and boy, that cold air comes rushing out of there. Rushing out of there.
I'd have been in a jacket the whole time, it sounds like.
I like it cold. And wow, I was looking for a jacket half the time in that room. If I didn't turn it off, and it took me a day and a half to realize I could go up there and turn it off like that and just stop the air altogether. Otherwise, yeah, it was cold in that room. Woo, but it was great for sleeping. But yeah, so whatever the Ecstasy does as far as air conditioner and water pressure, boy, these new cruise ships need to go talk to her before she's gone, and they need to adopt those particular systems, because I don't care if they're 31 years old. That's the best at sea that I've ever been on, period.
Well, you took the fan too and said you never had to turn the fan on.
Yeah, I took our fan and I pulled it out when my suitcase got there the first night and put it right back in the suitcase the next morning. Never even needed it. It wasn't the air conditioner. I mean, you could hear it blowing. So it made the noise, made that soothing white noise that a fan makes, and kept the room so cold that there's no way I wanted any more air circulating in that room. None at all. And like I said, I had a cheap cabin. I had one of those upper lower interior cabins down on deck 4 on the Riviera deck. I mean, it was just me, so I went as cheap as absolutely possible. And
I did laugh at your bed, though.
Of my little bitty bed. It was just me, so I did have a tiny little bed and definitely not used that tiny little bed. And I rolled over once or twice at night, and there's a possibility I came close to falling out. Didn't say that happened, but it got close a couple of times.
Yes, I'm saying her name right.
Awesome.
I am always worried about saying people's names wrong, so I apologize.
Okay, so got to do a couple other really cool things. So we went to Cozumel and we went to Progreso, places we normally go to when you sail out of the Gulf of Mexico area, whether it's Galveston, New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, you're almost always guaranteed to go to. Cozumel, almost always guaranteed. Costa Maya, Progreso, somewhere along in those places. So cruise was no different as far as that goes. But because Tiffany wasn't with me, I did take advantage of this opportunity to do some things that normally we don't do. So Tiffany's not always into the high speed, high thrills type of excursions. You know, she enjoys her snorkeling and her paddle boarding. And me, I prefer 75 miles an hour on a wave runner screaming across the water. So since she wasn't there, I did take the opportunity to do that. And that's exactly what I did. So in Cozumel, I rode the wave runners. And then in Progreso, I did a Segway tour up and down the boardwalk with a beach excursion afterwards. Now, I've mentioned this in some other videos. In our last couple of cruises, we have this excursion thing that's been happening with us. And Tiffany says every time I talk about it, I'm jinxing us and that it's going to end. But I don't know why it's happening, how it's happening, or why it continues to happen. But we keep booking these excursions. These are normal excursions. But
you book through the ship.
That we book them through the ship. It's nothing special. But a couple cruises ago, we went and did the stand-up paddleboard and snorkeling. 6 people showed up for that excursion, and then they paddleboarded. When it came time to snorkel, none of them wanted to snorkel. It ended up just being Tiffany and I and a guide. Then we go do the Save the Sea Turtles one. We go and save the sea turtles, and there's only 6 of us on the entire excursion. We're thinking, okay, you know, normally excursions are packed, it's crowded, this or that. But that's 2 cruises in a row where it's just been 6 people or less on our excursions. So now we go to the Carnival Ecstasy. I go to Cozumel, going to ride some wave runners. Curious to see. And it wasn't super expensive, less than $100. So, you know, and plenty of excursions that cost way more than that. But I show up to the excursion, and I'm the only person taking that excursion. Not a single other person. Just me. So my tour guide was like, it's just the 2 of us. Let's go. So now I've got a van all to myself. We get over to Isle Paradise. I got a pavilion pretty much to myself. He's like, let's go ahead and snorkel first. Now we go snorkel. It's me, a guide, and the photographer. That's it. Nobody else. Yeah. Awesome, wonderful time. Now, when I got to the wave runner portion, there were a few other people from a different ship and excursion that were like, hey, do you mind if they jump in the back so we don't have to do this twice? But I still got to be up front, got to be with the guide. They were with another guide behind us, and me and the guide I was with, we were hauling butt, full throttle, as fast as we could possibly go, because he's like, it's just you, so how fast do you want to go? I said, let's max it out. And he's like, done. And off we went. So just me that showed up for an excursion. All right. So now that's 3 cruises in a row when no one shows up for the excursions. But I got another port stop, right?
Yeah, another port stop. Another excursion.
Excuse me. Then another excursion. Excuse me. So we go to Progreso. We get there. Now I'm doing segways. Nothing big deal, right? It's a Segway. You stand on it. It rides around. It's going to go up and down the boardwalk. You stop and you do some selfies. They take you over to the beach club. You hang out on the beach for an hour and a half, get a little city tour, and you go back to the ship. Again, very reasonably priced excursion, like $70 excursion, you know, and if you've seen the prices of those excursions, they can well be over $100. I go down there, and it's supposed to be 3 of us. 3 of us on this excursion. That's it. And the other 2 didn't show up. So now it's me, a guy on segways, riding up and down the boardwalk. Nobody else. So I now have a second excursion in a row. It's just me.
I've told him he's jinxed us when we go in a week. There's going to be like 800 people on this excursion.
No, I'm telling you. next time, because we're getting fewer and fewer people with every excursion, next time we don't get a guide. It's just us. They're just going to hand us the keys to the boat and be like, it's just y'all, have a good day, bye. And the guides are going to leave. Because we can't get any fewer people unless the guides quit showing up.
This is true.
I mean, right?
Very true.
So, yeah. And I don't know what's up with these excursions. I guess it's like playing, gambling. It's like playing craps. I've rolled 7, 11. Those are the good numbers, right? Sorry, I don't play craps. We'll just say it's 7. I've rolled 7 like 4 times in a row. I'm bound to crap out here anytime now. Hello, Desiree. But yeah, I'm bound to crap out. I don't know how long this streak is going to hold. We'll have to let you guys know after the next cruise.
That's wild. All of my excursions on my cruise last month were packed.
Right? I don't know how it's happening. If I had a valid reason and explanation I could share with everybody so we could all experience this, I would. No clue. No clue. The only thing I can think of is people like, I don't want to go on an excursion with that guy. I have no other explanation because no one else shows up.
You don't know who's on the excursion until you get there.
I have no other explanation for it. I mean, to the point where I'm tipping my excursions, $40 just because I'm the only one there to even give them a tip.
Yeah.
And I've gotten such personalized service. They don't have anything to do other than cater to me.
Jay-Z said they would love an excursion like that.
Apparently pick the same one as me, and there's a chance you might get that. Or I've jinxed this like Tiffany says, and it'll never happen again.
Yeah. Desiree, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Desiree, for the super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Every little bit helps. Believe me, it all goes right back to cruising.
Connie asked, did you hear if a lot of people stayed on the ship because they had been in those places many times before?
I
never thought about that. This is the last cruise ship. Maybe they stayed on the ship.
It seemed like a lot of people got off the ship. I have no specific numbers, but I mean, people were getting off the ship quite a bit. There was quite a few that got back on at the end. Was it the whole ship, a quarter of the ship, half the ship? I honestly couldn't tell you. I never looked at it or anything like that. I got off, I went to my excursion, and I had a great time.
She says, you're welcome. I support just about all her cruise channels.
Well, believe me, every single one of them really appreciates us. Any of the others, believe me, every little bit helps. Every little bit counts. It keeps us on here, keeps us cruising so we can keep sharing these crazy cruise stories about people not showing up for excursions and getting them all to yourself. And we have 2 excursions scheduled here we're leaving again on Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
We sail back out again on the Carnival Breeze. We have a snorkeling excursion, one we've never been on in Cozumel, and we're going to Chechaban. I know I screwed that name up, but we're doing the Mayan ruins in Costa Maya. Supposed to be some big ones. You can walk up a pyramid. Really looking forward to that. Thank you, Connie. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Especially Connie, you are here on all of the lives. I see all of your comments that you put in on our regular videos. Definitely one of our absolute loyal subscribers and viewers and commenters. Really appreciate you, Connie. Thank you.
Desiree says she cruises yearly.
Me too.
Yes.
12 times yearly. If I can. I'm working there.
Chris cruises quarterly.
At least. I try. I can't get enough. And anytime I think, okay, now I'm going to take a break. They bring a new cruise ship in, they drop the price, or they throw an itinerary that just makes me go, ooh, how you doing? I mean, Carnival's thrown one for Galveston in 2024. It's one of their Carnival Journeys cruises, 14 days through the Panama Canal, going all kinds of places we've never been before. And we've already got friends here that are going, hey, you guys know this cruise is out there. Now, of course, I'm looking at it already. because if you're going to keep throwing me, new itineraries on different ships and bringing in new ships, I'm not going to stay home when there's too much great opportunity.
Desiree says it's addictive.
Yes.
Very addictive. And JC said that he's been on the Ecstasy out of Charleston, South Carolina, and that it was awesome, and that's a great, beautiful port.
I've heard that too. I know that they're going to stop using Charleston in 2024 is the last out of there, because they're going to be doing a whole bunch of construction and rebuilding out there. So hopefully, once all that work there is done at that cruise port, they're able to get a cruise ship back in there, whether it's Carnival or one of the other cruise companies. Because a lot of people sail out of Charleston. It is a favorite port for those people along the East Coast over there because it's convenient. It's nicely located. So hopefully that gets there.
I still can't say that, but yes, I think that's the one we're going to.
That looks like the spelling is right.
Chacahoban.
That definitely sounds absolutely correct. I would have to actually look it up to tell you, because my Mayan pronunciations are garbage.
JC said it. He hopes it gets done quickly.
People in Mobile had the same thought, because now that the Ecstasy's gone out of Mobile, it's going to be a full year till October of next year before they get another cruise ship back in there. And the Carnival Spirit is going to be replacing the Ecstasy. But there's a year of cruising or no cruising in between those two. So, and of course that happens right after Discover I Like Sailing out of Mobile.
Of course.
Right. So, but the Carnival Spirit is also a class of ship and size of ship that we have never sailed on before. So it would be worth going back to Mobile to sail on the Carnival Spirit. She is a smaller ship. So definitely would be worth looking at. And in Mobile, they have to have a smaller ship, at least right now. The port's not very wide.
Yeah.
And they go pretty far up the channel, which is why it has smaller ships. But it's beautiful. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I did. But that is pretty much my thoughts and feelings of the Carnival Ecstasy. Loved it. Enjoyed it. Would absolutely do it again. I wish she wasn't going away. I would sail from Mobile. I would sail on the Ecstasy. I would sail with that crew. I would even take the cheapest room on the ship again. I don't know that I have a single bad thing to say about that ship. No negatives.
You haven't had a negative since you got home.
Nope.
Except that I wasn't there.
Yeah, other than the fact that you weren't there is the only downside and negativity to that cruise. I mean, it really is. It was completely worth it. Best Carnival cruise I have ever been on.
Chica says, make sure you take plenty of money.
Always. Whenever we go into ports like that, especially when we're going to know we're leaving the cruise port, we always stash the cash for those particular ones. So,
have you been to those ruins? Do you have any tips or tricks?
That's a good question. That is a good question. Yeah, if you've been to those particular ruins and you got something to share with us, something we should look for, plan for, definitely take some money with us. Yeah, let us know, because we try to do a new excursion every time, one we haven't done before. We try to go, even though we may go to Cozumel multiple times a year, or we go to Costa Maya multiple times a year, or Progresso multiple times a year, we try to do a different excursion to share each part of it with you guys, give you more options to choose from. So, yeah, all these excursions that we're still going on are still brand new to us. And so if you've been on them before and have any little tips and tricks, definitely share them with us.
Desiree's wanting to know how we set up a live cruise show. Do you want to type in your email and have her?
All right, so I'm going to type this real quick while Tiffany talks. I'm going to send you my email address.
That way, it's a lot easier to explain it over email instead of right here, because there's some technicalities in it, so he can explain all that through email. But yeah, our excursions, we do try to do different ones, try different experiences, just to see what all's out there, what we like, just the different adventures. There's some that I still want to try that we need to go to different ports to try. I'd love to do the zip lining and stuff like that. But yeah, if you have any tips or tricks for the ruins, we know we have to wear comfortable shoes. We're planning on carrying the bug spray, sunscreen, stuff like that. First aid kit, just in case somebody slips and scrapes their knee or something. But if you have anything that we need to know, please definitely share it.
Yeah. And okay, so you can be sailing on the Carnival Spirit to Alaska next year. Well, great. After you sail the Spirit, I don't know if you've ever sailed on the Spirit before, but yeah, after you sail on the Spirit, let us know what you think about her. We're real curious because that's the one that's going to be going to New Orleans after the Alaska season not New Orleans, Mobile after the Alaska season next year. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what your impression is of the Spirit, because that is a class we have not been on of Carnival ship, and I'd like to jump on it just to kind of take a look at it. Take Tiffany out there, show her Mobile. So they'll show you that cruise port and that whole sailing thing. Because for me, it was about a 9.5 hour drive from my house to the Mobile cruise port. So even that part wasn't all that bad.
That's where I said thank you. She'll be getting back with you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hit me up there. If you go over to Facebook and just look up High Seas Cruising, I'm on Facebook. You can message me there. You can message me through email, whichever one you prefer, and I'll be happy to answer questions and give you the basic setups. It's not that difficult, honestly. It's really not. There's plenty of programs out there that almost will walk you through it step by step, and we just use the one directly on YouTube, and you pretty much just click the button and go live. Couple camera setup things, microphones, stuff like that. But it's really simple. Honestly, it is. You can do it right from your phone. Mm-hmm. That's how we do it when we're actually on the ships and we do live videos. It's all right there on your phone.
What's your name on Facebook?
High Seas Cruising. Everything is High Seas Cruising. High Seas Cruising. The email is not, and that's a whole other long story.
So JC said, been on her sister ship, the Pride. I like the size of that ship. Decor is plentiful, but
he loved it.
Do
you remember when we were looking at Alaska and we saw that one ship that we really wanted to go on? It had the I think that's the one with the Frankenstein bar on it. Oh, and it had the part in the front that was had the hidden walkway.
Oh, yes.
And the Alice in Wonderland Queen of Hearts thing up there in the front. Mm-hmm. That, I believe, was the Pride that we looked at.
Okay.
So if they're sister ships, then we're definitely interested because I've looked at that class.
Chica also says thank you. She was going to ask about an email address.
Yeah. If it may not show up because we are in the live, it'll show up in the recap or in the replay or any video that we put out. If you scroll down in the description, it has our email address. It has our Facebook link is in there. It even has our TikTok link in there, which is just short videos of the cruising and everything that we do. But yeah, all of our contact information is always in the description of every single video we put out, just in case anybody wants to reach out to us on the side like that.
So PT says they just booked their second cruise, 10 days on Norwegian Joy in August of 2023.
Awesome. Like I'm looking forward to trying Norwegian.
Yes.
With everything going on here, I'm just waiting for the Prima to get here.
And then Connie said, did you talk to any of the other cruise news YouTube guys?
The only other one that I knew and recognized on the ship, I did see Paro DJ on there. So J and D were on there. But the only time I actually saw them were at events. And they were usually like across the railing, on the other side of the ship or on a completely different deck than me half the time. I never seemed to have the opportunity to be side by side with them. And just casually walking around the ship, I didn't actually see them. But they are the only ones that I knew who exactly they were. I'm sure there were others on board the ship, but unfortunately, I don't know everybody and have not had a chance to either view everybody or meet everybody.
Yeah.
So, but I can say for 100% for sure, Para DJ was there, J&D, but I never had the opportunity to introduce myself or talk to them. Wish I did. I was really looking forward to it, but it was two ships that never passed in the night. ever. I said every time I would see him, I was set up to film something specific. And once you're set up to film, from a very certain location, if you're doing it for YouTube, you don't move a whole lot after that because you'll lose your spot and you'll never get it back and you'll never have a good recording spot like that again. Because that's one of those things about YouTube. If I know I'm going to record, a deck party or a theater show, if I'm able to, something like that, I have to get to these things an hour early to get the best spots, or what I believe is the best spots for recording. And once you park in that spot, boy, you don't move because you will lose your filming spot, and then you're angry with yourself, and you're like, it gets frustrating after that when you're trying to find that good spot again to film, from a specific, how it is.
Yes.
Tiffany knows how to wander off, and she'll find me parked somewhere, and I don't move. And I don't move at all. But like I said, they were there. I just never really had the opportunity to even speak with them. I mean, I got next to even John Heald, I managed to get next to one time.
That's the Splendor, but they are sister ships.
Okay. I knew it was something like that we had looked at that was just right.
Connie said Doug Parker was on it, but he probably just stayed in the gym.
I went to the gym once. I didn't see him in there. It's amazing that, it's a small ship. It's a little ship. It doesn't have as many passenger public decks on it as even some of the bigger cruise ships. And you still spend a week walking around it and don't see these people. They're there. They're putting videos out from on board the ship, but you don't see them.
Jeff Parker was there too. Glad there were other YouTubes on board.
Yeah, see? But it's amazing how you just don't see some people. They're there, or you catch them. You see them walking 2 decks over.
By the time you get through the crowd, you done lost them again.
If you can even get through the crowd. Because I said the only time I know for a fact the majority of the YouTubers were all in one spot was when there was an event. And like I said, once you're established for that event, you're not moving. And no 2 YouTubers pick the same spot.
No.
Nope. It's not like I would say, ooh, this is going to be the absolute best spot for filming. And the next thing you know, I'm all surrounded by YouTubers. You know what I mean? Because they don't all think, no one's, their creative eye is not the same as everybody else's. But it's got their own way.
Desiree says hi, doggy.
She's talking to you.
Our puppies, Kinsel and Miko.
He's upset. He's on the floor. I'm surprised he's not up here trying to push everybody else out of the way. But as far as Carnival Ecstasy, that was a great cruise. It really, really was. Wish you'd have gone.
It was quiet here at the house.
I imagine it was. I absolutely imagine it was. So I have tons of video that's going to be coming out about the Carnival Ecstasy. The Grandeur of the Sea series is almost finished up. I think tomorrow is the Parade of Flags.
Pamela said, you mean to tell me you didn't see anybody walking off the ship with the chair?
I'm almost positive I wasn't there when he typed it. I wasn't there when he put out that comment. I'm pretty sure he was being facetious, sarcastic, humorous, because I was sitting on deck 8 watching the disembarkation, and I was there probably 90% of the time because I had them take my luggage off. I was luggage tag number 9. I waited till they called my number, and I never saw a chair go by. So I believe that was just a joke. I know a lot of people were taking that seriously. I've seen some YouTube videos, people stealing chairs. I never saw a chair head for the gangway. Like I said, I wasn't there 100% of the time, and I was not the last person off the ship. But I can honestly say that I never saw a chair go by. So I think some folks might have taken that one out of context and made an entire YouTube video about passengers stealing chairs that I don't believe got stolen. Now, there's probably video out there of the guy walking off the ship wearing a one of the life rings, the orange
Life preservers?
Life preserver rings. You know, they throw over the side of the ship. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that. But there may be some video of him wearing one of those around that says Carnival Ecstasy. But he won that. He purchased that in the auction. That was an auction item, and he purchased that. So if there's any video of that guy, he actually owns that.
Pamela said, oh, he was the one walking off the ship with the chair.
Now that I'll believe. Okay, that part I can believe. You know, he's talking about his knee hurts all the time. So yeah, maybe it was John that was walking off the ship with the chair. That I'll buy, and I could see him doing it. I said I got to see John in the Welcome Aboard show, and he's a funny guy. And I recorded it, and I have video for you guys, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I said the ecstasy video should be starting, I want to say at the end of next week, once the Grandeur finishes up. That's one of the third or fourth one in will be the Welcome Show with John Heald, where he hosts that, and he's a funny guy. He had me laughing. He really, really had me laughing. He's a funny guy. He did the auction. There was an officer meet and greet with all the ship's officers from captain down. He hosted that. He did the map signing. And then he made some random appearances around the ship. But even he stayed off of the passenger decks a lot. If you go to his Facebook page and look at some of his videos, he's showing you pictures of the crew lounge, videos of, you know, the crew areas and stuff like that. And I get it. I get why he would do that. People yell at him.
Yeah.
They complain to him like he can move the planets, like, you know, it's some people are obnoxious about it. A lot of people love him. A lot of people are super good to him, but yeah. You want to flick on the light, baby? All right, we're going to try to add a little more light to this video because it is getting dark in this room. So here we go. We're going to have some, whoop, there we go. Let the camera adjust out to that a little bit. Had to turn on the light. So it's starting to get dark now. It's got all kinds of shadow. You definitely have a great night too. We're getting pretty close to finishing up here. So does anybody have any last questions about the Carnival Ecstasy, sailing of the Carnival Ecstasy? Anything else I didn't cover, I can answer for you. Please let me know. I'll be happy to answer all of those. So we are home here for another week and a half. Friday, we are heading down to Galveston. We're going down a day early. So I have it written down, but someone had asked me to do a video about Galveston, the cruise port, some of the stuff that's around there. So I will be filming that on the 28th.
Yes.
When we get down there a day early, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to do a little extra filming in Galveston to share for those that are interested in the Galveston cruise port. And then we'll be boarding the Carnival Breeze for what I'm going to call Halloween on the high seas. What do you guys think? Pretty good since we're sailing on Halloween, right? Extra creative. But we're going to be sailing on the Carnival Breeze, doing a 5-night for Halloween. Now, our youngest is going to be going on the ship with us, so we will have a third individual with us. We're going to be taking Dylan on the ship with us. This is what he had asked for his high school graduation and his birthday present.
Yeah, because his birthday is going to be the day we go up to Galveston.
On the 28th.
Yes.
Yep. So his birthday is that Friday. We go down to Galveston. But this is what he wanted for his birthday this year, for his graduation and birthday present. He said, take me on a cruise.
Yes.
And make it a Halloween cruise, please.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. This is also a very informal family group cruise.
Yes. There's about 30 of us going to be on this cruise.
Yeah, we got about 30 different people that we're all going on this cruise together. So you guys may definitely get introduced to some new people you've never seen before that are associated with us. Make no promises it'll be good. Some of them are different individuals. We'll call them that.
They're all fun. They're all great.
All family, all friends, Great people, would no one else we'd rather sail with, as far as that goes. Except for, of course, our grandbabies. But they're not going with us this particular cruise. But yeah, so it's going to be a great, an informal family group cruise.
Yes.
So there'll be lots of people, lots of stuff going on. We'll have more people to talk to. And I don't know how much filming of Dylan we're going to do. He seems like he might be. I said his name so the dog thinks he showed up. He may be a little shy on the camera, so I don't know how much film he's going to be doing. But if nothing else, I told him if he doesn't want to be filmed, he can be my cameraman. I need a cameraman. So I may give him that job if he so desires to have it. So he desires to have it. So, yep, next up, the Carnival Breeze. And you get to go on that one.
Yes, I get to go on this one. This is going to be the last one for the year.
Yeah, and the Breeze will be the last one for the year. But don't worry, we start right up again on January 6th. So, because, after that, we're definitely going into the holiday season. A difficult time for Tiffany to cruise.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So,
Chica says, have a great time. That should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Every cruise is a fun cruise.
Yes.
Every cruise is a fun. But I'm happy for Tiffany because I do so much for YouTube when we're cruising. There is a lot of times that Tiffany is just following me around while I'm working. So the fact that there's going to be 28 other people that she can interact with, that she already knows. She meets people on the ship and everything, but she's automatically got 28 cruising buddies right there on the ship the minute we board. I know she'll have more entertainment than just watching me work, because I work a lot on the ships, way more than she needs to watch.
Maybe they will make a double like they did the Mardi Gras.
What did I miss?
Down on the bottom.
No, but what? A double what?
I don't know.
Yeah, Pamela, a double what exactly? I don't know if I missed something in the chat, but I'm not sure what a double is you're referring to. I do not know.
Does the Mardi Gras have a...
It's just an XL class ship. If there's something double on it, I'm not sure what that would be. I do not know. We have not been on the XL yet. Our first XL experience is going to be the Jubilee.
That's in November.
Yes. That is in November of next year. Yes. We are going to be on the Jubilee.
Yes.
That'll be our first actual XL class. So, Yeppers. But Carnival Breeze next. Then a little bit of break.
Yes.
Then right back to it.
Yes.
Right back to it.
2 in January.
Yes. 2 in January, 1 in April, 1 in May so far. I'm looking to squeeze another one in there. She just doesn't know yet. I'm eyeballing February. She says no. I do all the bookings anyway, so not worried about that. I do all of the bookings. She has no idea what we're booked on half the time.
I just pack.
She just packs, and I put luggage tags on her suitcase. And she's good.
Yep.
And she follows me onto whatever ship I happen to get onto.
Yep.
That's true. But, all right, I think we are going to go ahead and hop off of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight so we could talk about the Carnival Ecstasy. Like I said, I've got lots of video coming up on the Carnival Ecstasy, all of the events I attended, the Halloween deck party, the sail away party, the farewell party. They did the wave show in the morning. Normally, I don't film those, but like I said, Alex, the cruise director, and the Fun Squad, they were so funny in these wave shows. I went ahead and recorded them. I'm sure you guys have already seen in the cruise news that Carnival has said the crew no longer are required to wear their masks. That announcement came out while we were on the ship.
That is so awesome, too.
There was a little bit of celebration, and you saw the masks go gone. Some crew members were still wearing it because it's a choice for them now. So some did keep it on, just like there's some passengers that keep it on. You know, it's all about what you want to do. But for the majority of the crew members, boy, those suckers were gone.
I just miss seeing the crew smiling all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they always had the buttons that had their smiling face on it. but you had to like look real close at that button to hope you could see it. So yeah, it was really good to see a bunch of crew members' faces by the end of that cruise, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, for this, so for upcoming cruise, you'll see a lot less masks as far as crew members go. They were, the ones I talked to were very happy about it. I was asking them as I saw them, hey, you happy about the crew? You happy about the mask? You glad it's gone? And they were like, yes, 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 and yes. So
PT, you have a good night too.
yes, absolutely. So again, everybody, thank you for joining. We really enjoy doing these live streams. It's so much fun to interact with people on an immediate basis. You know, I like the comments on the videos, but you don't get an answer right away like you do like this. This is a lot more interactive, and I really like the more interactive experience. So one last thing I want to explain. I did not do a live video on embarkation day from the Carnival Ecstasy. Honestly, I just really could not find a quiet spot. I did not know the ship very well. I couldn't find a spot that was quiet where there wasn't some kind of machine noise or anything like that. I had a cabin deep in the ship, so the cell service was not going to get into me, and the Wi-Fi on the Ecstasy was almost non-existent. I don't really consider that a negative, though, because I knew that ahead of time it was going to be great. And like they said, ship's going to the scrapyard. We're not going to upgrade and fix this. She's gone after this week. So it wasn't a real big shock.
Yeah.
So, but that's why there wasn't a live for the Ecstasy embarkation day. But I do plan to do one for the Carnival Breeze embarkation day. We will have a live. We have a balcony cabin for that. So we will definitely have a quiet spot we can sit down and do a live, even if it's just on the balcony of our cabin.
Yep. Connie says this live was very informative. Thank you.
Oh no, I really appreciate it. I like to do lives too the very first Wednesday right after we get back from sailing. While all of the cruise is still fresh in our mind, we can share everything with you. All of, like I said, the negatives, the positive, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what I like to call it: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, with the Ecstasy, though, it was good. It was good.
The only bad is it's going away.
The bad was it was going away, and Tiffany wasn't there, and there just was no ugly. I'm sorry, there wasn't. At Carnival Ecstasy, my new favorite Carnival ship, she's gone, and she's my favorite.
That's usually how it works.
She beats the Valor, she beats the Freedom, she beats the Breeze, and by God, she beats the Vista. So does everything else. A rowboat and 2 oars might beat the Vista. The Vista is my least favorite ship we've ever sailed on. I know people love the Vista. Me and the Vista, we are not buds. Not saying I wouldn't sail on her again, because any cruise is a good cruise, but she has got to be my lowest ranked, least favorite ship. But other than that, everybody have yourselves a really, really good night. I said we will be live again here in just a little under 2 weeks. It'll be Saturday the 29th for embarkation day on the Carnival Breeze. And then we'll do a live, of course, the Wednesday after we get back.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, baby?
Nope.
All right. Well, everyone have a really, really good night. Thank you for coming to today's video. If you haven't done so yet, if you guys would do me a favor and pop on that like button for me. Let's see how many likes we can get for this video. The more, the merrier, the better, the happier. YouTube says, hey, people like this guy. Let's show him to other people. That's really important. Other than that, everybody have a really good night. We'll see you
out on the high seas
in a week and a half. Good night, everybody.
Good night.